pleased to be joined by new Vanderbilt head coach Mark Byington. And all right, first of all, Mark, I got to say, usually I do these things and I dig in and I try to find some dirt on coaches. And I have tried like hell to find some dirt on you. It is not easy. I got to say, I'm not going to say you're boring, but you don't have a lot of skeletons in your closet, do you?
Well, I hope not. I try to treat people the right way. And I do have a conscience. I don't know if that's part of the requirement to be a coach, but I have one. And I like to be asleep at night. And I treat my staff right. And I treat my players right. And but I don't know. I mean, somebody could start some rumors about me in a second, though. They can get something going.
Listen, anybody can start anything on Twitter. Trust me, I know that. Okay. Anything. It doesn't have to be true. In fact, most of it is not true.
Yeah, let me ask you, which fan I haven't seen, which fan base is mad at you right now?
Probably Indiana, where my daughter goes to school, because I said that Umar Ballo, that I'm not sure that the team fits together well yet without shooters. So
it's my favorite thing to follow who's mad at you sometimes. But go on, sorry.
All right, so you're 47. You have grinded it out through your career. I mean, you really have, as an assistant, long-time assistant. We'll get to your Bobby Cremins stories here in a little bit, at Charleston, which is my favorite place, as you know, and I'm going to buy something there soon. And then you go to Georgia Southern, tough job, really tough job. And you take a job at James Madison. A lot of people probably shake their heads. And when you made that move, they're probably like, what are you doing? Isn't that a lateral job move? And we know it isn't. And it took you a few years there, and you had like a dream season this year from start to finish, pretty much a dream season. But at 47 years old, Mark, are you thinking at some point, hey, listen, I'm not sure if I'm ever going to get the opportunity to coach at a Vanderbilt or a high major?
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard. It's like I get Georgia Southern, and it wasn't like I had 20 jobs offer me the position to be a head coach. And so many times you got to take a job that's a so-called like bad job or tough job, and you got to make it good. And so I walked into Georgia Southern, I think it was 7 straight losing seasons. And I had to build that and get that going. And, for me, going to James Madison is going back to Virginia. Some things fit there. And you're at a place for 7 years like Georgia Southern, and sometimes you want new scenery, new challenges. And I was going to the CAA, and I was like, all right, it's a basketball league. There's 10 teams. There's not 14. There's not 18. And I could be one of 10 in the CAA. And went up there in the first year. We won the regular season championship. My best player breaks his kneecap the game before the last regular season game. Player of the year in the league. Really? Led the league in scoring, second in assist. And I thought I had a chance that year to go to the NCAA tournament because we were beating everybody by 10, 15 points. And then that one's taken away from you. And then year 2, we didn't have a chance to go to the tournament. Year 2 there at James Madison, we were 9-2. We beat UVA and George Mason and all of these teams, but we couldn't even go to our conference tournament, and so that was difficult. And so you kind of take things, and I really don't think that far ahead. It wasn't like I'm sitting there taking a job to get to the next job. I was always just taking a job and seeing how good I can do with it, and I always like challenges too. So it's like some people are scared of them. They want something that's already rolling and easy. And those types of things don't attract me as much as saying, let's get in there, let's build this.
Well, this is a challenge in a sense, right? It's a great job. And like people that know, like Kevin Stallings had this thing rolling.
Yeah.
Like you can win at Vanderbilt. Like it's proven. He did it with some really good players. Jenkins, Taylor, they had some pros at Vandy. Obviously, they've kind of gone on hard times lately. How do you get this thing back, Mark? Obviously, you and I talked about this before we started. It's a little bit easier right now to be able to rebuild something quicker because of the portal.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at jobs and you want to take something, you want to make sure administration's committed. And look, you can go in and do what you want as a coach and work really hard, but you need support. You need people around you. And I have that here. I think I have the best athletic director in the country in Candace Story-Lee. And she is hungry, committed, wants this thing to be great. And so they're investing a lot more. It's not the same Vanderbilt it was a year ago or 2 years ago, whatever else. Everything from NIL commitment, everything from giving me resources with my staff. I just hired, I think, the best strength coach in the country, and those guys have multiple opportunities. And we got a practice facility that's open in three months from now, and then you sit there and you get here, and all right, we're elite academically. All right, we're in a best conference in the country in the SEC, and we're in Nashville. And look, it's like check, check, check. All right, let's just get committed on some other things. But it's an awesome place, and it's not something you look at. You're like, all right, we're gonna have to like overcome all these different things. It's the right people, the right players, and we'll make our run.
So I hear you're like me. You like 90s music. You're not a huge country guy yet. All right, yet. That's the operative word, because you're going to have no choice. My wife and daughter are now huge country fans, and they weren't, I don't know, a year or two ago. So they went down to Nashville. I haven't been in years. I can't wait to get there. But first of all, give me your favorite 90s bands, and then give me your country bands that you know so far.
Yeah, so I mean, I actually got some country in me when I was in South Georgia.
Yeah.
And that's where Cole Swindell went and Luke Bryan went, and I would get a little bit down there. But I haven't got forward in a long time. I'm a 90s. It's a weird combination. I like metal and hip hop from the 90s. So Dave Matthews, Pearl Jam, Metallica are the ones that are really. But I'm also like Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, Biggie. It depends on the mood in the car. I need to evolve to get some more modern things. If it's modern, I might have country on right now.
I'm kind of with you. I got like little Def Leppard.
Oh yeah,
love Pearl Jam, and then I'll go like a lot of Eminem and
yeah,
some rap as well. But I never, being here in Boston, country wasn't big. I actually went to see with my wife. I'm going to pronounce the name wrong, but Noah Kahan, Kaahan.
yeah.
Really good. So that's one. Try to go to at some point. He was really.
Yeah, I don't know that, but I know one block or a couple blocks down here, Morgan Wallen threw a chair off a roof the other day. So well, I'm gonna be into some music here because we got some of the best music around.
Yeah, we'll come down and we'll be novices together going down. When I come down there, you can take me around and we'll try to figure it out together a little bit.
Hey, we do have a Halls here.
Ooh, I heard about this.
I know Billy and Tommy don't like the pub, and so we hit the one in Charleston, we hit the one in Nashville.
Billy was hitting me about the new Charleston coach over and over. When that thing was open, he was on top of me trying to figure out who they were going to hire, and obviously they got a good one in Chris Mack over there at Charleston.
They did.
All right, give me your favorite story recruiting with Bobby Cremins, because there had to be some elite ones.
Two that stick out, the first month that I was recruiting with them. One of them was the first time we ever went out, and I'm OCD and I'm always early and this and that, and that's not really him. And we were in North Carolina, and we drove up the night before, and we had an 8 o'clock workout. And I told him I'll meet him outside the hotel room at 7:30, and I couldn't find him. And went up and knocked on his door. And I was like, Coach, let's go. We got to be on time. We got to get there. And he goes, I got something important. And I was like, what's important? He goes, I've never seen this episode. And then he's pointing to the TV. And I was like, what is it? And it was Walker, Texas Ranger or something like that. And so he had to wait till that was over. So I waited in the car patiently and everything else. And the other one was we were recruiting one time, and I didn't want to stop, but I was like, Coach, we got to get there on time. He goes, I got to go to the bathroom. And he goes, we got to eat lunch. I got to go to the bathroom. And I was like, we'll go after. So we decided to pull into Arby's. And I said, here's going to be the deal. I'll order you a sandwich. You go to the bathroom. I'll meet you in the car. And I did mine quick. We're walking out. I'm sitting in the car, got a sandwich, and I'm looking in. And there is a lady that's rubbing her hands through his hair. And then two other ladies come and are rubbing her hand through his hair, and he's smiling and laughing. And I'm like, what is going on? And he walks into the car and he goes, yeah, they didn't think my hair was real. and he's over there smiling. I was like, what are you smiling about? He goes, I still got it. I still got it. So it was like that every day with him, though. That was just too stuck in my mind quickly. But every single day, he was the best person to be around. He really was. I miss him a lot.
Tell people that maybe Vandy fans that don't know your coaching style, that don't know how you want to play. Obviously, again, the success you've had at both spots at Georgia Southern and James Madison, but how would you describe it to people that haven't seen you play?
Yeah, I think the thing that'll jump off is how aggressive we're going to be. And that's on offense and defense. And I think a lot of people say that. I think it's something that it's going to be our culture, and it's going to jump off on the film or jump off in person. And we do play with pace. I mean, every single team I've coached is always top 30 in the tempo, top 30 in pace. We're going to get up. We're going to take good shots early. And, I'm going to let guys play. I'm not a guy who's going to control every single thing they do. I try to find guys who know how to play, and then give them freedom to do that. We'll be very prepared. We'll go into it. We'll work hard at it. But I think if you watch us, you're going to be like, all right, they're playing fast and they're playing hard.
If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM Sportsbook. We're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 throughout the year. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use bonus code FIELD, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. The best part, all you need to do is deposit and bet $10 of your own hard-earned money to be eligible. Here's how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using that bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure that you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. BetMGM is going to have some fun offers available throughout the NBA playoffs. Bet insurance tokens, odds boost, and what I love, a nice parlay booster too from time to time, as well as a ridiculous array of player prop bets for any sport that you could possibly imagine betting on. BetMGM is and always will be the king of the prop bet. So go download the BetMGM app, use the bonus code FIELD, and sign up today. And while I've got you, a quick request. The best way to support the Field of 68 content that you get for free is to engage with us. Rate and review the podcast. Like and share the YouTube videos. Tell your friends about us. It all helps in a world where the algorithm is king. And now, back to the show.
So, again, you're 47 now. You were a hell of a player.
I'll be 48 next week, and you coming down to celebrate?
I'd like to. Maybe.
Yeah, we're going to do Zooms with recruits. That's how we'll celebrate.
There you go. There you go. I'll join you there. I heard you had some plantar fasciitis this past year. That I had it a few years ago. You're getting a little bit old. You got to. Well, how old's your son? 16?
16, yeah.
16. So will you play him anymore, or can he take you now? No problem.
We had the last game we ever played last summer. I was actually drinking some beers on the couch with some friends, and he came in and talked trash. And he's like, let's go play in the driveway. And I said, no. And then he put $20 on the counter and said, let's go out and play right now. And I went out and played, and it was the hardest game I ever played in my life. He knocked my contact out. I won 21-20. I was calling some fouls at the end that were questionable. But after that, I was like, this is done. I'm not doing anymore. Yeah, I had plantar fasciitis, some shoulder itises, all kinds of stuff. But it's hard enough to coach right now. I can't get out and get a defensive stance anymore.
So I hear you try to take him to the NBA Finals every year if you can, and you haven't been able to do it lately. You know who's going to be in the finals this year.
Yeah, probably the Celtics. I know you're going to be there. Yeah, we were at the last time we were there was Game 6 when the Bucks won, and I'm up in the stands. I can't find him, and he's actually in the locker room celebrating with the Bucks, and Chris Middleton and all those guys got him in there. So we've chased around LeBron, we chased around some guys. You know who I'm hoping's in there this year?
Go ahead.
I want Cleveland in there. I want Darius Garland in there. That's going to be my pick.
Listen, the job that Kobe Altman and Mike Gansey have done in Cleveland to put together that franchise when people thought it was dead when LeBron left has been absolutely incredible. if they're healthy, they'll have a shot. They'll definitely have a shot. All right. I heard you've had one technical foul in your coaching career. Is that accurate? One?
There's two. There's
Two.
two.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell
Of course,
me
I
about
remember
both.
both.
Tell me about both.
So the first one was my first year. I was coaching a rival game, Georgia Southern versus Georgia State. And a guy stepped on the end line, and I ran down really, really fast. And this is when I was younger. And I ran down really fast and pointed out. And then he said I ran too fast and pointed out. So I got called for a technical on that one.
Okay.
And the next one was at Bradley, which I think is probably where a lot of people get a technical. And they had a player that kept stepping across the free throw line, and the free throws, the fouls were already like 14-2. And this guy would go up there and then shoot his free throw and step across. And I told the referee at the first one, I was like, he's stepping across the line. And so then he goes back, he shoots another one, steps across the line, gets fouled again, and does it again. And he was so far across the line, I just asked him, I said, is that not a rule up here? And that was a trigger somehow, and I got a technical for that.
All right, so I want to know.
Oh, wait a minute, there was one more.
You got 3.
One time I straddled the coaching box in a tournament game. I did straddle the coaching box.
Really?
And I got an apology for that one. The referee actually came back and said he messed that one up. But most of the times you don't get apologies.
So would your SAT or ACT score have gotten you into Vanderbilt?
No chance. I had to get the grad school at UVA. I had to have some special people write some letters for me to get to UVA. I could have gotten to Vanderbilt. No way.
Classic. How excited are you to have this job, though? I mean, it seems like, again, this is the perfect job. People talk about this all the time. The perfect job for you.
Mm-hmm.
What the character. I talk to a lot of people in this industry, and I've never heard a bad word about you, which is crazy because, people like to talk in this industry. Is this the perfect job for you in a lot of ways?
Yeah, I'm so happy here. And look, we're like anybody else. We got scholarships, roster stuff. And like, it's almost like I'm doing all this right now to get to when we coach our guys in summer. I can't wait to June 1st. It's like everybody, you're waiting for different things. And to get the team on the court June 1st and then start getting them better and building and everything else. It's so much fun for me. But I love it here. The fans are passionate. They're hungry. Yeah. And that's like, I know you're used to hungry, passionate fan bases. I get hit all the time on Twitter with people wanting to give me a recruiting advice and everything else. It's a hungry fan base. And I love that. I hate to be places don't have passion and where you got to create it and you got to make them be passionate. I don't have that problem here. It's a big time city, big time university, and we'll get it going.
What's it like to go from a year ago when you're going through this portal stuff and worried about losing all your dudes to high majors to now being the high major that can, I don't want to say poach, but you can get a lot of these mid-major guys that are transferring up where, again, you were there a year ago. Like how different is it right now?
It's so hard when you're at that level. You can't ever have consistency. Good players are gone, and really almost at every level now. But just what you were talking about, we were talking about earlier, where you develop a guy and build him, and he might come in and he's got deficiencies, a 2-star player, whatever else, and he's averaging 14, 15. You put your time in him, and he's gone, and it's hard to replace a guy when you're at that level, and everybody wants consistency right now. And I used to go in and I would talk to people. I was like, all right, I want a good basketball program. I don't even say that anymore because I think it's jumping too far ahead. I was like, I just want a good team. And we'll take that team and then see what next year brings. But, I think the whole thing's flipped upside down for every school, every level. But when you're at like James Madison or Georgia Southern, and you got a guy like halfway through the year playing really well, you're probably like, all right, you're already hearing rumors that people are trying to pull him out.
I mean, you knew with Terrence Edwards, right? I mean, you knew, again, not that he was definitely going to go, but he was going to have opportunities. So, you're preparing. For those watching, obviously, he was one of your best players at George Mason. He ends up at James Madison. He ends up transferring to Louisville.
Mhm.
after with the coaching change and everything, but it's got to be like crazy. I mean, because again, like you said, you're just trying to put together a team wherever you are, year by year, year by year.
Yeah, I mean, if in that situation like that, we knew in January that everybody's being contacted, and he was already National Player of the Week and had good things, and you know what, it's hard for a young man to go through that, and
Stay
so
focused.
I told him, I was like, look, I was like, wherever you are at the end of the year, I was like, I'll help you if it's here, if it's there, if it's somewhere else, and we'll do whatever's best for you. But I was like, you got to be into this team right now. And you can't look too far ahead because he had a couple of games there where I could tell the way the world was on him. And so many guys do that. They think in January they got to take care of their families the rest of their life. And they go through slumps and it's too much. And I do hope that it never takes away joy of guys playing because they play for a certain reason, get there for a certain reason. Guys coach for a certain reason. And it's the competitiveness and joy, and sometimes that gets sacrificed in all this.
Yeah, we're in kind of a weird time in college sports right now. Again, some great things and some things that are just probably moved a little too fast. And I feel like we coaches, whoever, I mean, I feel like again, hopefully this stuff starts to kind of work itself out and be a little bit. The hardest part for me, Mark, honestly, is the constant movement now. And like there's no continuity with some of these programs, and you get kids transferring, 4 or 5 times over the course of their career. And I look at it, I'm like, how do you get your degree? Like, how do you make good relationships with people if you're constantly moving like that? We know it used to be 4-year guys that fans could really connect with. Now I think it's just so much harder. And I get it. These kids are getting compensated. That's great. That's great. But so many times too, and I'm just kind of spitballing all over the place here, but the agents are the ones telling these kids to go in the portal because these agents want to make 20% off all these NIL deals or these collective deals. It's hard, man.
Yeah, and then the other thing too is like my favorite thing as a coach is when you watch the parents drop them off when they're 17 or 18, and the kid has this look in his eye and doesn't even shave yet, and he's like, and then next thing you know, when you see him walk, and the parents are crying when they drop them off, and then you see the parents crying when they graduate 4 years later, and what they look like and how much they've grown and different and everything else. The 4-year player right now, that's going to be the unicorn. You're not seeing those anymore. I mean, it's I don't like that because relationships grow over time and the trust and things you do. And I had a recruit tell me actually 2 days ago, he goes, I really want a relationship with the coach. And he's got 1 year to play. And I'm like, hey, we'll do it as fast as we can to get a relationship. But I mean, it's not the same thing as growth and maturity and going through a bunch of different things along the way. So it's different.
Yeah, and like when you're recruiting these kids, right? You used to recruit them for 3 years, right? Sophomore year of high school, get them, you knew them, you knew their parents. Now, there's some kids you're recruiting that are in the portal that maybe you recruit a little bit, but for you it's even harder because there's probably not that many. So you're trying to do your due diligence in such a condensed period of time. I assume you got to be a little bit fearful of making mistakes, right?
Yeah, you do. And I mean, you're trying to figure out, what works with guys transferring different types of leagues and stats. And then you got to do character checks. And guys get money. And if they're not a good person before it, they're probably not going to be a better person once they get money. So you got to make sure you do that. And the other thing that I want to make sure that we keep having an understanding is the value of a college degree. And sometimes that gets pushed aside. And I hear even parents sometimes or coaches or agents that, some of these guys will play only for 2 more years and maybe 3 or 4 more years. And what are they going to do after that? And if they made all their money right now, what are they going to do? And I think, a big thing is guys can have some short-term money, which I hope they get as much as they can get. But then at the same time, there's got to be a long-term plan where they can have long-term money, long-term future if they're kind of balancing out with school, NIL, and everything else. So it's You got me on my tangent now. So
No,
somehow
but
you
it's,
pulled out of me.
yeah, it's hard. Again, listen, the sport's great. There's just some things that probably need to be tweaked a little bit and kind of figure it out. And unfortunately, we're behind the 8 ball with that. All right, I'm going to leave you. Last thing I have for you. Give me the dirt. Give me something. Give me like the most trouble Mark Byington got into when you were a kid. What, like, you got to have something, man. We got to have something here.
No, I mean, I was my mom and dad were strict, and I did tell this story, stuck out the other day. Roanoke College, you know where that is in Salem, Virginia?
Yep.
So there's a coach there, Eddie Green, and he got brand new basketballs. He used to let me work out Division III school all the time. And I was in the gym by myself, and I decided to steal a basketball because it was brand new and I could not resist. I was like, it's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. So I ran out the back door, ran home, got home, and then I wasn't in the house for 2 minutes. The door knocked, and coach said, Mark, give me that ball back because I saw you run out with it. So that was the type of things I was doing. I skipped school to play basketball when I was in high school, and my mom found me one time. My brother wrote a school note to get me out, and my mom came in the basement, and I'm watching the ACC SEC tournament. I used to skip school to do that, and got my brother in trouble, got myself in trouble. But that was types of things I did as a kid, and now I'm more profile. Now I keep it careful. I don't do anything like that.
There you go. There you go. Well, Mark Byington, new head coach at Vandy. Appreciate it. Congrats, and can't wait to see you this year.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.